So I'm currently in my basement because I have an unboxing and I want to unbox it down here just in case. Also, AC is on in the background. It's summertime. It's about 85, 87 degrees outside, Fahrenheit, of course. And so it's kind of warm out. I'll do my best to try to filter out the noise. Can't make any promises, though. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what I got. And it's going to be a little bit large. I won't be able to get the whole thing in frame. But as you can see, it's from everyone's favorite online marketplace. And there's this on here. So you know that they took extra good care of it during shipping and handling. So fingers crossed, right? Yay, packing peanuts. I don't see any paperwork, so I think we can safely open this. Oh, it's really oversaturated. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit here. A little darker, but it's not so oversaturated now. And there's some bubble wrap in here. Let me see if I can clean this up first. Alright, so I think I got enough of it out of here that I don't have to worry about it getting everywhere. But it'll at least give us a better idea of what I got. It's big and it's beige. And there's bubble wrap. Oh. And the central air shut off. So hopefully it will be a little quiet for a little while. Hoping this arrived intact because the box was a little tiny bit smashed in the corner. But I got myself one of these Unisys CWP 4663s, missing a power button. I wonder if it's in the box or not. We'll have to see. Now, there was a lot of these sold a while back. A person had like a pallet full of them, and I don't know if this was part of that or if this is just a different purchase, but I saw it and it was one of those late nights that like, I'll put a bid in. Let's see, I probably won't get it. And I got it, so. Missing a screw. Something is rattling inside. This has built-in Ethernet? Huh. Neat. I didn't notice that. Let me get this bubble wrap out of the way here. Now, because I can't get this camera to go any higher than it is, I still can't get the whole thing in frame here. But I'm hoping... Well, first of all, I'm hoping that the key in the front isn't locked. But let's see if I can get this... Okay, so I think this is actually supposed to be attached to this. There are some broken clips. Unfortunately, there's one kind of intact. Maybe I can find some kind of print online. But that means opening this up. Oh, okay. No, what fell off was the speaker and some sort of LED. So the power button, well, the button is there. The cover for the button isn't. I'll have to take a look and see. But one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this up is because of the fact that it's got a coin cell battery instead of a barrel. So I figured a lot less likeliness of there being any damaged traces from corrosion or anything like that. And looking at it, I mean, there's only one electrolytic capacitor that I can see, and I don't see any damage from it, so it's probably not leaking. I take that back. The riser card's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other reason I picked this up is because it has both ISA and PCI slots. In fact, the slot for the riser appears to be an eISA slot, so a 32-bit ISA slot. A lot of computer manufacturers utilize that to be able to give you ISA and PCI. I don't know if it actually is compatible with 32-bit ISA, aka eISA, but, you know, who knows. There's a little bit of rust in the power supply here. I already saw that in the photos, so I was okay with that. And this is a 486 machine. Now, you may be like wondering, you've already purchased two 486 machines, and the first one was corroded probably beyond repair. The second one, you picked up a little bit of corrosion, and you're correct. and I still plan on trying to fix the second one because it's not quite as bad. But I saw this and I was like, you know what? I really want a working 486. So I'm hoping this is it. Let's look up the listing, and it actually was missing the power button in there, so I didn't notice that. That's my bad. I probably should have been a little bit more observant, but maybe there's a 3D printed option. If not, maybe I can try to print my own. The seller was or is a collector, but it looks like they're selling their entire retro collection. So what's a loss for this individual is going to probably hopefully be a win for me. Anyway, because it was a collector, I'm hoping that this works and it's not going to need a whole lot of work done to it. It does come with 1 stick of RAM. I don't know if it has any onboard memory. I don't believe so. These 2 chips here are for the video, and it looks like you can upgrade the video. I don't know if it's 512 and you can go to 1 meg, or if it's 1 meg you can go to 2. I'll have to look that all up. It does come with a cache stick. I'm assuming it's cache because it looks like it is, and it's in close proximity to the RAM and the CPU. I believe these were 66 megahertz 486s, and I'm wondering if it'll even take the 100 overdrive that I've got. I don't see any markings on the CPU itself, but it looks like the heatsink might come off if I detach these clips, which I'm not going to do right away because I want to make sure this thing works. So, and I need to grab a keyboard at the very least, maybe a mouse. I have no idea. Oh, actually, there is no hard drive in here. And I think if I remember the listing, they did not include it, but of course that also means there's no hard drive bracket. Again, hopefully 3D printing to the rescue. And I did read a lot of this stuff. I just don't remember a lot of the details because I put this bit in a little while ago. But other than that, I mean, it's exactly what I expected. And I understand that including a hard drive, you know, it's sensitive data, et cetera, et cetera. It's also possible that it wasn't working anyways. I don't know if this ever came with any expansion cards. There is a plate missing, a shield here, a cover. So I'm wondering if it had a sound card, and now it doesn't. It looks like this is also missing. Again, not a big deal. There was an option, though, for onboard sound, it looks like. And I'm wondering, looks like it might have been, based on that there, it might have been some sort of a ribbon or something that would have attached. This is a J7 Smart port. No idea. That could be for the audio. And again, you have another set of headers over here. That could have been for audio. I know here is the IDE connector, the single IDE connector, but still. Does seem to have an extra unique power connector over here. I'm not sure what that does. I'll have to look it up and see. Yeah, so this is a feature connector because the inside cover has this handy dandy little guide here. These here look like they are for the video memory, so that's good. This is the cache. And let's see if I can figure out what. This is the BNC Ethernet. So it looks like option for that type of Ethernet. So this is an Ethernet controller on here, and that is a hopefully maybe 10100. Who knows? Probably not, but we'll see. It does have obviously options here for CPUs, and it does have an option for 100 megahertz CPU. Don't know if that's for the overdrive or not, but we'll see. I'll have to look those up. And there goes the central air again, because again, summertime. Bunch of jumpers and everything. So yeah, pretty cool. Looks like this would have come with some sort of Fujitsu drive. I don't know if that was the hard drive or if that was another floppy drive, such as a 5 1/4 inch. It originally came at 2 meg by 32. This one's only got 1. I think I've got extra memory laying around. And then whatever this was going to be. Oh, that's the CPU right there. So, yeah, 66 megahertz DX2. Again, another blind purchase from eBay. Not completely blind. Like I said, I did look into it a little bit. The main interest was the coin cell, so I knew it wasn't going to be any battery damage or anything like that. And this one singular electrolytic cap on the main board itself. It should be easy to replace. It hasn't leaked. And then again, like I said, oh, no, there is actually one more down here. I apologize for the lighting. I can't get great lighting at this angle over here. So, but there's another one there. It doesn't look like it's leaked at all, but we'll take a closer look at everything. What I want to do is power this up and see if it works at all. Obviously, we don't have, I could hook up a CF to ID adapter and maybe we can boot off of a compact flash card. Some generic DOS install. In terms of a sound card, I do have a couple of Aztecs that came with those 486 Packard Bells. the one that I can't repair because it's just too much damage, too much trace damage and battery damage and everything. I can grab the sound card from there, snap it in here, and good as new. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling now and prepare this so we can test it. All right, so I moved it over directly under the camera where I normally would do, soldering, stuff like that. Still can't get the entire case in view, but at least we can get the important parts in view here. I do have a CF to ID adapter hooked up here with a CF card that just has a basic DOS install. Got a keyboard hooked up. Got it hooked up to the Dell TV/monitor that I typically use. And all we got to do is plug it into power, which is here. All right, make sure the power switch was off, because if something is wrong with this power supply, I don't want it sparking as soon as I plug it in. And because I've got this camera here pointed downwards, I'm going to get my personal phone out so I could record the screen and hopefully be able to get this captured simultaneously, and we can see what's on screen, if anything, if this even turns on, of course. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and power this on. I saw the lights in the keyboard. There's a beep. Wonder what that means. Is it a RAM issue? Got a red light, amber light on the LED here. So, just did a quick search, and AI, of course, gave its input. If this is a Phoenix BIOS, which I have to try to see if I can find, it indicates a BIOS ROM checksum error, which, I don't have the ability to replace the ROM if it is, in fact, the ROM. So, fun. I'm really hoping it's not that. It could maybe just be a dead battery. I'll swap the battery out. Try again. All right, let's see. I put a working battery in. See what happens. Same error. Now the thing is I don't see any chip on here that's labeled as the BIOS. Could be this one here. Let me see if I can get a little closer. It is reading as TI TMS 28F010A. And I'm only singling this chip out here is because it looks like could be a BIOS chip. I don't see any DIP-based chip on here that would typically be indicative of a BIOS. So, yeah, got to do a little bit more research, it looks like. So if this data sheet is to be believed, the TMS28F010A is a 6-bit flash read-only memory chip. It's an EEPROM, so it's an erasable programmable read-only memory chip. So this is probably the BIOS here. So there's a problem with that chip. I don't have any way of replacing because I don't have any of these chips. I don't have a chip programmer. And I'm wondering if this could be rewritten even. Maybe the BIOS on here just corrupt. If I reflash it, I'll have to look up and see if maybe this particular board supports, a emergency boot mode type situation where I can have a floppy disk in it, boots off of it, a BIOS off of it, and can reflash it. Probably too old for something like that. Yeah, fun times. Retro adventures though, right? Oh no, here's a flash chip too. Looks like an Intel chip, so this could also be potentially it. Although because it's so close to the video circuitry, it's probably a VGA BIOS. Let me also check the jumper settings, because if the jumpers aren't set correctly, they could be causing issues too. So I haven't really found a whole lot of information about it yet. There is a manual of sorts, but it's mainly designed to tell you how much RAM it supports, the fastest CPU you can put in, jumper setting for the CPU. I didn't see anything for the BIOS specifically. So what I'm going to try to do is reseat the RAM just in case. It's also possible that this board might need both RAM slots filled. I'm not familiar enough with how 486s work. I don't think it's going to do anything, but let's find out. Nope. Well, time to do some more troubleshooting. So, I disconnected the CF to ID adapter because I wanted to see if there were any jumpers that I couldn't see. And you'll never believe what's going on. I hit record here on my personal phone. It's booting. And it's got a 100 megahertz CPU already in here, which is awesome. That means I don't have to, use my overdrive CPU. I can save that for the Packard Bell. Previous boot incomplete. Default configuration used. And it's just going to try to boot. Look at that. And it's 8 megs of RAM total. So cool. The original hard drive in here was a 2 gig. Obviously, we don't have that in here anymore. 1.44 megabyte floppy drive, if that's accurate. Doesn't say anything about the cache on this particular screen, but I believe that that's probably going to show up in the BIOS, or at the very least, I can use some sort of cache check utility. But you know what? I do have a floppy disk here. It's a Windows 95 boot disk, if it's correct. Let's see what happens if I put that in there, if it'll boot or not. If not, I'll go grab a boot disk. I hear the disk being read. Is it going to be successful? Yes, it is. So the floppy disk drive works. That's cool. So now I got to figure out what's going on with the IDE. Did I have it plugged in backwards? It's one of those IDE ports, and I don't have it on camera here. But it's one of these IDE ports that doesn't have that plastic skirt around there, what have you. But there actually is a little marker in the silk screen that shows that would be where most likely that notch goes. And I did realize that I didn't actually have a power connector plugged in. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in, plug in a bird connector if I can find an extra one. If not, then, which I think there's only one bird connector on here. So let me see if I can get a Y adapter, get this plugged back in, and see if we can't get this to boot. So I don't have any extra splitters anywhere. I must have used them in every single other project that I've been doing. So we're going to borrow it from the floppy drive because, well, we know that works, but I want to try to get it to boot off of this, and just to see if it works or not. So let's get this back in, make sure all the pins are lined up. It is kind of cramped in this little corner here. And then we'll see if we can get into the BIOS at all. And I will readjust this camera to record the screen, make it a little easier on myself here so that I can still have my hands available if I need to do anything. All right, let's see. Huh. It doesn't like something about my little CF to ID adapter. Let me unplug it. Start this back up again. Maybe I have to go into the BIOS and set some options first. I don't know what key. F2. All right. Okay, so standard Phoenix BIOS. Hopefully it's coming through on camera. Let's see. Raise the ISO a bit. Date's accurate, even though I had it, I had it plugged in when they replaced the battery, so let's go ahead and we'll do this not install just because I don't have it plugged in. It's got auto detect options, so we're going to change this to, I have no idea what to set for 1 meg. We'll set to that. I don't think it's accurate, but whatever. Let's enable this. Do 3. Actually, no, we'll do standard to keep it nice and safe. Everything else seems to be fine here. Sees itself running at 1280 by 1024. I don't know if that's accurate, but whatever. Change this to C, then A. Actually, floppy disk check disabled. We want that. And we'll leave that to default. No. Let's set the configuration data to be safe. That's fine. That's fine. Now that the BIOS is set, I'm going to try to plug the adapter back in and see what happens. Yeah, that's fine because it's not detecting the disk. But I want it to get past this screen so that if I shut it off now, there's a chance it'll think that there was a configuration issue and it may try to set the default options again. I don't want that. And again, it might not actually get past the screen. But at least the power LED is green, so it's got that going for it. That's fine. And it's not going to boot, so good. Now I can turn it off. Let's plug the adapter back in and see what happens here. It's also possible this adapter just won't work in here and I'll have to hook up an actual hard drive, which I don't have anything set up that can boot right now. So I'd have to boot off the floppy, and let's see what happens. Let me turn the adapter around just in case, because it's possible that it's not what I think it is. I doubt it, but... But this is fine, because now... See, it still went to that, but now we can probably do... There we go. Then again, this adapter still might not work with this system, so... But it should have a basic DOS 6 install on it. Interesting. Let me see if I can come up with something. Oh man, I gotta see if I can find a Molex to Berg adapter, because there's like, how many are in here? 1, 2, 3 Molex connectors. Let me go see if I can find one of these adapters. Maybe I can steal one from somewhere. Alright, I managed to steal one from another working machine, so... we got power. Good. It's booting off a floppy, just like it should. Funny thing about where it showed where the system says TC40, this is also known as a Tulip TC40. Tulip Systems, I believe I don't know if they still exist, but they used to be a Danish computer company. So my guess is either Unisys made a bunch of OEM systems and sold them to other people, or the other way around. But here we are. So it does not see drive C. That's odd. No partition defined. Current fixed disk drive 1. And it's frozen, but the computer itself hasn't frozen because I can still turn the unlock on and off. Let me flip this adapter back around again. So yeah, so if I flip the adapter around, the system doesn't post. It just gives me those, those beeps. That's really bizarre. Let me try a different card. It's possible that it doesn't like this 1 gig card, even though the computer originally had a 2 gig drive in there. Maybe there's something about this compact flash card it just doesn't like. So I'm going to put in a 256 meg one. And again, it's just possible that these adapters don't work on this system. They're not 100% universal. There. Let me... something with the video sync. It's interesting. Let me also go back in here, and that's enabled. Let's do standard 16-bit mode. We want that. And there could still be some jumpers I need to mess with, and I'd have to try to find a more comprehensive guide, because the little sticker sheet, whatever that's on the inside of the top cover, only covers jumpers for the actual CPU configuration. So I'm going to have to go and see. I don't think there's anything on here. Yeah. So, and again, it could just be the same issue as before. What can I do? Oh, non-DOS. We'll do... Okay. So it just didn't like my 1 gig card. All right, let's check again. There we go. That's more like it. System transferred. Cool. Now, remove the disk and reboot. And it's booting off the hard drive. Sweet. It's like a video sync issue again. Interesting. I hope that's not indicative of any issues. I do hear the power supply fan, but it's relatively quiet for a system of this era. So, anyway, I think that's going to be enough here. We'll call this part 1, and I know I do this a lot, but I really don't want this to be like a 2-hour-long video or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is wrap this one up. We'll do another video. I'll give this a cleaning. Let me readjust the camera here. And that is oversaturated, so I'm going to address this rust here, so I got to remove the power supply. Probably should open it up anyway, inspect it, at the very least, get rid of any dust bunnies and things like that. Make sure there's no components that are failing. What else we got to do here? Figure out the jumper settings, make sure, at the very least, just so I know what they're set to. I mean, obviously, the ones for the CPU are probably good. I just want to make sure that any other jumpers that are on here are set correctly. As far as the hard drive goes, it looks like it mounts, and that's off camera, but let me see if I can. So it mounts here underneath, looks like just 2 screws, which means I'll need to print some sort of an adapter if I want to use a CF-to-ID adapter. Like I said, I got to try to figure out what's going on and why it doesn't like this particular CF card, whereas my NAC PC does. Now, again, newer computer than this was, but still, I mean, this should work. Give this whole case a cleaning, address the power button issue, and turns out someone did have a 3D print available for it. And of course, it's not cooperating there. So I've got that printed in gray. They suggested printing it in white, but a lot of the pictures I've seen show that the power button's gray. So we're going to leave it at gray. But like I said, hard drive brackets so I can mount the CF-to-ID adapter. If, I don't have to be forced to use a spinning disk, and I'd rather not, but it is what it is. I got to get a sound card in here, and I'm going to grab, like I said, one of those Aztec cards that I grabbed from one of the Packard Bell systems that I was hoping I could get working, but the first one, obviously we know, super trace damage. Second one, not so bad. I might address that one later this year. But I'll get the Aztec sound card in here at least. We've got a Cirrus Logic video card in here. 8 megs of RAM. For 486, it's probably enough, but I'll look through my RAM to see if I have any more and get this up to maybe 16. And we'll put this thing through its paces. It does have a 5¼ inch drive bay. I don't know if I want to put a CD-ROM drive in there or if I want to hold out and see if I can find a 5¼ inch drive on eBay that isn't like an arm and a leg. We'll see about that. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys have any experience with these systems? Like I said, there was a bunch of these on eBay a while back. Some seller had a bunch of them on a pallet, selling for, I guess, $100 a piece. I don't know if this is where this one came from or not, but I thought that was kind of fascinating. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it seems to work. But yeah, so, again, you guys have an experience with these systems, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks, I'll catch you later.